Hey everyone, we just wanted to make a quick video talking about returning to exercise after having COVID or isolating, primarily without stuffing yourself up. For many of you, this might have been the first time that you've had 10 days away from exercise in a while. For others, you may have had a very disruptive 6 months to even 2 years with heaps of interruptions to your training. So whatever your situation, the following is going to be applicable to you. Athletes, or whatever you refer to yourself as, returning to exercise after a break is the biggest risk of either putting yourself into a world of hurt, so DOMS, or worse, injuring yourself. Obviously, you're going to need to get back into exercise at some point, and you can't avoid it forever, so being smart about how you approach it is going to be drastically going to reduce your risk of injury. It's likely that two things happen to you over that kind of isolation period. The first is that you didn't exercise at all, or if you did, it was not nearly as intense as what it usually is. And the second is that you probably didn't eat as well as you normally do. Now, there's nothing wrong with either of these things from happening. You were sick. When you're sick, the last thing you need to worry about is exercise. But now you're ready to get back into your training. You need to be smart about how you manage your expectations and your approach. Now, your mindset is going to be one of the most important parts of your journey back into fitness. So here is our guide for returning to training. The first point, remember, you are not going to get all your fitness back in one session. Now, I said this after the lockdowns, and I'm going to say it again. I know this sounds logical, but when people return from a break, they try to go from 0 to 100 to make up for lost time. You need to gradually build that intensity back up. So it's more like 0 to 60 to 75 to 90 and then finally to 100 again. The second and probably the most important thing, you need to remember you haven't actually lost your strength or fitness, you just feel weak and your lungs aren't open. Your overall fitness would not have drastically dropped from not training for that 10 days, but you will feel unfit. So what's the difference? When you're training regularly, your CNS, your central nervous system, is primed and your muscles are active. Your lungs are firing from all the other workouts you've completed. This is the state that you're used to training in. When you haven't exercised for 10 days, your central nervous system is generally left a little bit sleepy and it'll make weights feel heavy as fuck. When you start a conditioning workout, you'll also feel like someone has sucked all the air out of you. But don't worry. It's not going to take 6 months or a year to get it all back. You haven't lost it all. It's just going to take a couple sessions. Your body will adapt pretty quickly to any stimulus thrown at it, and you'll get your lungs back in no time. Next, if you can, start doing something small on your last days of isolation. When you're no longer symptomatic, hopefully your last sort of 40 to 50% of ISO, depending on how rough you got it, this is going to be a good opportunity for you to start moving again at low intensity. Now, don't get caught up in the mindset of it's not 100% intensity, so what's the point? Or I don't have equipment, so there's no point. Literally going through some bodyweight exercises and moving for 20 plus minutes will do you the world of good. Reach out to us to get access to our free at-home program for both equipment and without equipment. Your training doesn't need to be perfect, just move. Finally, eat enough food. At this point, you'll need all the help you can get. Even if you have a weight loss goal, it's probably not a great idea to put yourself in a calorie deficit. You have your whole life to lose that little bit of weight that you may or may not have gained during ISO, so why does it have to be in the next week? You want there to be a really good balance of the food, energy that you're putting into your body, and the energy that you're burning and putting out, especially when you're getting back into it. There's a strong correlation between not eating enough and injuries occurring. So for safety's sake, have that extra serving of rice or kumara, chuck an extra protein shake in there for good measure. Being fueled properly will do the world of good, and it's going to do your body and your mindset so much. So don't cut yourself short.